Hunting. Hunting the shadows. Trick or treat. Welcome to the special Halloween edition of Hunting the Shadows. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Come on in, friends. We're going to have an interesting night tonight. This is All Hallows Eve. Halloween is upon us. This is Dennis Curl, your host. Well, actually, this is the robot of Dennis, the AI version, okay? Anyway, that's a very uncomfortable robot, too. Whew. That's an interesting mask. Come on in, folks. Pull up a tombstone and make yourselves at home. We're going to have an interesting night tonight. This is a special edition of Hunting the Shadows. There will be another edition tomorrow night. We're going to be talking about defense against black magic and the dark arts. So you don't want to miss that, definitely. But now we're going to have a little fun. We're going to tell some stories. We're going to have some observations going on. And who knows what we might get into, definitely. And let me pull my comments up here. Start interacting with everybody showing up here. I know there'll be some people busy tonight and going to parties and stuff. Hello, Aussie Sue, JoJo. Good to have you here. Barb. And all that. We're going to have some definitely interesting time tonight for just a little while here, okay? You know, the boundaries that separate life and death are at best shadowy and vague. Who is to say exactly where it is that the one ends and the other begins? In certain times of the wheel of time turns in the year, there are times when the veil becomes thinnest. This is such a night. The veil is very thin tonight. Ghosts, spirits of the departed may be out there walking around in the darkness and the shadows tonight. They may even visit you tonight in your dreams. You never know what might happen on a night like All Hallows Eve. Samhain, as the Celtics called it. It is the actual Celtic New Year's Eve, the dying dark time of the year. And that is definitely what we've got going tonight. So we couldn't let, hello, Roger, we couldn't let Halloween go by without doing a little something special, definitely. And I think we'll have a little fun tonight. Have some stories to tell and some observations to make, you know. So we're going to wait for a few minutes and let everybody kind of check in here. It's definitely a busy night, without a doubt. And if I come trick-or-treat your house now, you're going to have some Baby Ruths ready for me there, okay? But wish I could. I wish I could come see each one of you, and we'd definitely have some fun times. But this is the next best thing, okay? This is it. This is all we got for right now. And I have a lot of fond childhood memories of Halloween, you know. I had a lot of fun back when I was a kid, definitely. But, you know, Halloween's changed now. As cultures change, you know. Unfortunately, traditions change when cultures change, and that's a bad thing in a way. Hello, Ray. Good to have you here. Yeah, it's a cold night out here too. By the way, it's cold and dark out there. We're gonna have a things freeze coming up. So, Halloween's playing a trick of nature on us tonight. It was like 80 yesterday, and tonight it's gonna be freezing. So there you go. That's the way it goes. Especially in this state, you have all four seasons in one day. Um, but yes, thank you, Jojo. I've got a lot of interesting things here in the room. This is sort of my museum. I've got the guys backing me up tonight. I've got Carl and Joe over here. They're the night watchman, one of them. And one day we'll hopefully do a show on some of these objects for you. You might find that interesting. Definitely. Well, we're going to have a little fun tonight. We've got a lot of things lined up for you. I got you some stories, and we're not going to keep you too long. Let you get back to the festivities and the horror movies. It's time to. This is a good night to cuddle up with a nice, quiet horror movie. You know, definitely just to keep you warm. But anyway, definitely we're going to have a little bit of fun here, and we've got some. I got some interesting stuff lined up for us. And that quote I did at the beginning of the show, "The boundaries of life and death," is from Edgar Allan Poe. Don't worry, I'm gonna do just a little Poe tonight, not much. I've got one thing of Poe I'm gonna do for you. But let's see what Roger's got to say. Rogers is let me pull that up. Okay, I live so far back in the hills of eastern Kentucky that we hardly get any trick or treaters. I don't get any anymore, and I live sort of in the suburbs here where I'm at. They're not really. It's not safe to trick or treat anymore. Really, the way the world is nowadays, the safest thing to do is to go to Halloween parties to people you know. You know, that's the best thing. If I had some kids doing that, I definitely. Hello, Roger. Good to have you. If I had kids, they definitely would be doing that. They wouldn't be going out on the streets because this is a time of I've talked about this before. There is a darker side to Halloween, okay, and it is an evil dark side. Really, this is the devil's night in some way. Some people look upon it that way. And it's like Christmas, Halloween's just another excuse for some people to get drunk. We know that. And I had a little fun the other day looking at some of the Hollyweird stuff. And here's the funny thing about Hollyweird parties. The parties in Hollywood, the women show up trying to dress with as less as possible as their costumes. So they really don't have any costume at all. That's kind of weird, but that's the mentality of Hollywood for you. Okay, definitely. They're not in this world with us. I don't know where they're at, but they're not around here. Definitely. But anyway, it is a bad night of the year too. This is, of course, it is a known witches' night. And, I won't say this about witches. I've known a good many witches in my time. Okay, some of them were good, some of them were bad. I had a warlock one time. Actually, a black warlock cursed me to death. They put a death curse on me. But guess what? It didn't work. I'm still here. But anyway, I think I got better protection than what he's got, more power of. Okay, put it that way. But I've run into some bad ones. I've run into some so-called good ones. I even had a friend of mine once who was a witch who did, help me out when others didn't sometimes. So, they're good-hearted people and everything, but I have to wonder about if maybe some of these good-hearted people are going about things the wrong way, but I'm not going to be their judge. I'm not their judge, okay? That's not my job. But when you do step over that line into the darkness, into the evil, then you are my enemy, okay? I look upon you as my enemy. Sorry about that, but that's the way it goes. We're not friends. We're not acquaintances anymore. We are enemies because I want to stand with the light, not the darkness. I've always tried to do that in my career as a paranormal investigator and also in my retirement as a law enforcement officer. Well, my whole life I've lived that way. I've always tried to stay on the side of the right and goodness and light, and it's a good place to be. And hey, you get a good power hookup from there that helps you with your life, definitely. Red Pill Preachers here. Good evening. Good evening, sir. I'm gonna put you up here for just a minute. Halloween marks the worst time of the year for me. It can be. It can be bad, Ray, definitely. And like I said, there is a dark side to it, and we must recognize that. But there is also it's a very mystical night. Like I said, it is a very supernatural night because the veil is thinner, without a doubt, and things can happen. And I have had things happen like that. I don't know if I've ever shared this with you before. Maybe I have. I'm getting old, so if I repeat myself, please forgive me. But I went as a young boy. I lived in a haunted house. It was called the old Broadwell House. It's gone now. The location is a pawn shop now. But I go by over there every now and then and remember that. But it was a very haunted house. And an old miser who was named Mr. Broadwell, by the way, lived in the house, and he did not believe in banks. You know, a lot of the older folks went through the Great Depression, did not believe in banks. And he hid his money, a lot of his money around the house. And when he died, his relatives came in the house, cut holes all in the walls looking for his money. I don't know if they ever found any or whatever. But it was an interesting experience to me as a child because it was actually a haunted house. And I was probably, when we lived there, I may have been about 8 or 10 years old, something like that. But I remember some incidences in it that were very vivid. Um, Absolutely, and that's very true, Red Pill Preacher. A lot of children sacrificed. A lot of people disappear tonight that will not be seen again on this earthly plane, definitely. And they disappear for all the bad reasons. Hello, Crystal. So anyway, I lived in this haunted house for several years. Had several incidents, and I'll give you a couple of them right quick. I was sitting one time. There was like a room that was next to the living room, and you pass through the living room and through this room. I guess you would call it a den, maybe, and then you pass through the den into the kitchen. And I was in this den, and I was watching television. I remember it well. It was Saturday morning. I probably was watching some of the Saturday morning shows or whatever. And one of my favorite Saturday morning shows was Shock Theater. Had all the old monster movies on it. That's probably what I was watching. So anyway, I'm sitting there watching TV, and it was wintertime. None of the windows or doors were open on the outside of the house, and we didn't really have a unit that blew. We had, I think, maybe a stove, but we didn't have the kind that ventilated every room. You know what I'm talking about. So there was no way for any kind of a breeze or air in that house in that respect. So I was sitting there watching TV, and the door right next to me was shut. It was locked. It wasn't locked, but I mean it was closed and clicked into place. It was shut. It wasn't just hanging open. And I'm sitting there, and I hear it go click, and I thought my mother or somebody was coming in, And I saw the doorknob. The doorknob actually turned because I saw it. And I looked at it, and it was turned, and the door slowly swung open, just like in a horror movie. The door slowly swung open. There was nothing there. And I got up, and I said, "Well, what in the world?" I looked around, and nothing. So I left the door open. I thought somebody might have walked up to it and pushed it open and then walked off, and I didn't see them. But actually, I come to find out later, my mother and father were outside when this happened. Okay, so there was nobody in the house but me, or was there? Maybe there was somebody else. Anyway, the door swung slowly open, and I sit back down. And while I'm sitting there, the door slowly, I watched it out of the corner slowly, just a little bit now, not very fast, slowly went and closed back and clicked it back into place. And to tell you the truth, the floors in that house were very solid. I remember that. Let me tell you about my second incident. And that was the real freaky one there. There were other things. We could hear voices sometimes. You could hear them. But there was one sound I heard several times, and it finally dawned on me what it was. The sound, I would hear it at night. Now, I slept in behind this house. This house had 2 stories. I wanted to sleep upstairs, which is where they said the old man used to sit and count his money. Um, but I slept in a bedroom that was a room right behind the staircase that led up to the second floor. And um, let's see. I'm not on side of the dark, but I'm reading the demonology book. I've studied a lot from the Warrens, JoJo. Definitely. That doesn't put you. That puts you on the good side. Because the Warrens were believers. Okay, they were very devout Catholics, by the way. Anyway, I'm not, but they were. But I studied a lot of what their other cases. I actually met Lorraine Warren. I'll talk about that sometime. She was a real nice lady. Anyway, I liked Ed the best, though. I had more in common with Ed. Anyway, getting back to my story, I heard sort of like I would hear this noise every night. And finally it dawned on me what I was hearing. It was coming from the stairwell, and it was actually footsteps, a little one at a time, like going up the stairs, And hey, chicken leg 71. And that's what it dawned on me. Hey, I'm hearing somebody going up the stairs. So one night I got up and I went in there and opened the door. There's nothing there. But I always said that was probably old man Brawl going back to the upstairs to count his money that's not there anymore, maybe, or something. Maybe it was, I believe it. I feel like more in that house was more like residual type haunting thing going on, definitely. But anyway, moving along. That was my experience of living in a haunted house at a very early age. We lived in a lot of houses. That was one very, very particular house. I would love to have that house. I'd love to still be in that house. It was a nice house. Unfortunately, why they tore it down, I don't know. It was in very good shape. But anyway, that was many years after I moved out of it. Definitely. The boat unlocked itself at 3 a.m. Oh yeah. I've had that happen since then. I've seen doorknobs turn since then. Definitely, Ray. That happens without a doubt. Okay, first story up here I got for you. Okay, guys, you got me on the big screen there, CP. Glad to have you here. First story up, I got a little story for you here called Voodoo Moon. Okay, you ready? The full moon that still in tropic night stood high over the city of old New Orleans. It looked to me like a skull in the sky, and I've come to know just what that means. It can only foretell a dark night of evil, you see, and you know that it's bound to be coming soon. For they are dancing tonight with devils set free in the pale light of a voodoo moon. That night they sent Jean-Claude to find me, to pay with my life for some photos I shot. I saw a dark ritual they wanted no one to see, so they sent my old friend to murder me on the spot. But poor Jean-Claude had been buried for almost a year, and it can be hard to kill something that's already dead. Thank God my machete was close by near, but it's never that easy to take off a zombie's head. In nightmares, those lifeless eyes will haunt me, and as I poured salt into that awful mouth of decay, I made sure he was dead as dead could possibly be. I reburied him with a blessed cross at the break of day. There's a doll of me out there somewhere, I know. They chant as they stick it with pins while they twist and bend. Black candles are lit as they wish me dark woe, casting their spells and curses for my terrible end. So tell them in old New Orleans I won't be back down the track, for the fate of my own dark doom may be coming soon, and the sound of the drums will be back with the shadows so black on the night of a voodoo moon. I hope you like that one. That's uneven. That's a little zombie thing for you there, folks, okay? Definitely without a doubt. I was telling somebody the other day that it was very strange being, I've always liked monster movies and stuff like that I actually grew up to find out that vampires and werewolves are real, zombies are real, ghosts are real. I can tell you that tonight without a doubt, what I have seen, and I've had a lot of interesting experiences. Um, I've had a lot of definite supernatural encounters in my very very long career. I have seen ghosts. They do exist. I can tell you that there is something without a doubt beyond this life. I know that without a doubt. I know Bigfoot exists because I've seen him. I've actually seen him. I know that there are vampires and werewolves. Uh, they are wolf spirits and vampire spirits. Okay. I know that demons are real, for I've seen them. I know these things are real, and I can tell you that without a doubt tonight, sitting here, that what I have seen is what I believe to be there. Definitely. I have to believe the evidence of my own eyes and my own experiences in that, without a doubt. So there is a supernatural side to this life without any doubt in my mind, because I have encountered it on many occasions. Definitely. Okay, Ray says he also had dark figures uh, going back and forth. Things in the kitchen counter was tossed off. Sounds a little bit like a poltergeist too, a little bit. But that sounds kind of demonic there, Ray. Be careful with that. Definitely. Overbuilt it here. Good to have you, my friend. And an evil empire, Y2 TV, and howdy. All right, Alan62 is here. Good to have you, Alan. Yes, they do exist. I can tell you that. That's all I can tell you, because I've seen them and I've encountered them with my own eyes. Okay. And there is something beyond this life. And that's why on a night like All Hallows Eve, Halloween night, you can say that there definitely is a spiritual side to this, and they may be out there moving around in the shadows and the darkness out there tonight. And you may encounter them tonight in your dreams. Sometimes they do visit. Our ancestors do visit us in dreams, without a doubt. Oh, yeah. And I've had a lot of interesting experiences in that. Definitely got to write a book about it one day and get all those things down pat. The bad thing about it, here's the one thing I regret about my career. I was never real big on keeping records. I wish I had. I wish I had at least kept a diary and wrote all this down. It's all up here, but I got to get it out. Okay. And that's easier said than done. Okay. Believe me, folks. Writing is a very exacting profession. Okay. I got to get it all out. Definitely. Hey, Marie and Anita. Good to have you. And definitely, without a doubt, these things are real. Barb asks, what are ghosts? Are they actual human spirits? So that depends, Barb, what you're encountering and what you're dealing with. Yes, I think I have encountered on several occasions, without a doubt, human ghosts. But ghosts and the other word form is spirits, okay? I mean, they're the same thing. Ghost spirits are the same thing. Spirits, ghost. You also have diabolical spirits, evil spirits. They were never human to begin with. That's another thing. And then you also have animal spirits. And I think I've had an occasion to run into animal spirits. Anything that lives or breathes and has that kind of life in them. I've even seen certain trees that look like they had twisted spirits or souls in them. Anything that's alive that has a spiritual part of it has that ability to manifest itself spiritually. Okay, you got to remember that. That's a very definite thing there. Thank you, JoJo, about the book. I will definitely I'm working on that. Actually, my video series I'm coming out with soon, The Midnight Road, Excursions into the Unknown. I'm going to have several of my cases, and I think they're going to blow your mind when you hear some of them, okay? I've had some of my most interesting cases that I'm going to be doing some video. These will be 15-minute video shorts on them. But in order to go deeper into it, I definitely will have to write a book there about that, JoJo, definitely, without a doubt. Okay, Alan says, Akrons, Anunnaki lizards, serpent people, tall grays, small grays, Pleiadians, and it goes there. Oh yeah, that's the whole list. Well, that's some of the list there, Alan. Definitely on some things. Some of those things I think are really truly diabolical manifestations. Okay, that want you to believe in certain things that may not actually be true. I won't go and get into that tonight. But and a lot of these conspiracy theories are, I think, also have a diabolical connection behind them. Okay, and I will definitely be doing shows on that in the future. So stay tuned. Okay. Definitely giants. So yeah, let me say this, Alan. When I first got into the paranormal, I made a list of these reoccurring things in every culture worldwide. Okay, and giants, witches, vampires, demons, ghosts. The list goes on, and these keep showing up everywhere. And I had to ask myself that question: why? Because they are out there and they are everywhere, and people see them definitely or encounter them without a doubt. Happy Halloween. Okay. But anyway, good to have you here, brother. Good evening. So we're gonna get on. Let's move along here. Got you another story. I got a little short story for you. It's very short, okay, so it won't bore you. But I hope you're gonna like this one. It's a very interesting story, okay? So hunker down. We've got a good Halloween story coming up here. Yes, sir. Alan, ghosts, many are demons impersonating the deceased. They're very good at that. Yes, sir. The name of the story is. I want you to listen very close to it now. It's got kind of a spooky ending to it. Okay. Night Cry. The following written account was found in my friend's apartment. They were brief entries in a loose leaf binder that he had on the nightstand by his bed. Entry 1, the first night. I was awakened out of a sound sleep. I checked my clock. It was approximately 3:33. For a minute, I didn't know what it was that had awakened me, and then I heard it. A long howling in the distance, but not that far away. I sat up in bed and listened. It was not the howl of a dog, more like that of a wolf, and the way it sounded, it would have had to have been a very large wolf indeed. But there are no wolves in this part of the country, especially not in the suburbs. True, there is a large patch of trees, maybe a couple of acres not far from the cul-de-sac where I live in my apartment. But the only thing I've ever seen there are squirrels. Then I heard it again, a little closer this time. It was a long, drawn-out, mournful howl, a sound that seemed to chill with an icy touch to the very depth of my soul. I can't describe the strange longing that it brought up in me from a place somewhere inside, long forgotten. I looked over at my dog Leo to where he sleeps in his spot under my chair. He's usually a brave little cocker spaniel, as bold as a lion, but tonight he seemed very wary and on edge. He too, of course, had heard the howling. I got up and dressed. There'd be no more sleep for me tonight. Then it came again, this time much louder. It seemed to be coming from somewhere near the old abandoned house next door. I heard Leo give a small growl as he watched me put on my jacket against the fog and the chill of the October night. I was determined to find out just what this thing really was that had so unsettled me. I grabbed my flashlight, my .38, and headed out the door. To make a long story short, I searched the old empty house and found nothing. I even scanned the edge of the woods with my flashlight, but I didn't go in. I might be curious, but I'm not stupid. I went back home, made myself and Leo some breakfast, and had a cup of coffee. But I still can't seem to shake the strange effect that the howling has had upon me. The incident was never far from my mind for the rest of the day. Entry 2, the second night. Due to a lack of sleep, I went to bed earlier than usual, but it was a fitful and restless sleep that was broken once again at exactly 3:33, just like the night before. I came awake with a start, and there it was, the howling again, much louder than it had ever been. I got up and looked out the window toward the dark tree line of the woods. There is a definite something moving out there in the shadow of the trees. I try, but I can't begin to understand the strange feeling that had touched me in me by the beckoning howl of that night cry. It seemed to reach out and grip the very center of my being, the very essence of my spirit and my reality. Beyond everything, no matter what, I have to go. I must see. I have to know. Conclusion. They found my friend's flashlight and gun at the edge of the forest. The gun had never been fired. As for my friend, he has never been seen again. They did a very thorough search of the old house, the woods, and the entire neighborhood for miles around. No tracks, no clues, no nothing. I took charge of Leo, but he's a very changed dog. Every now and then I think I see a wistful look in his eyes. I know without a doubt he misses his master. Sometimes I wake up to find him awake, just sitting there by the door and listening perhaps for the howling to return, just as I listen to every night. I've come to realize that there may be many unknown things in this world that we don't understand. What happened to my friend is one of those. So try to tell yourself, as I do, that it could never happen to you. I hope you like that one. That's a very good one. That's kind of a very appropriate story for Halloween, definitely. Yeah, let's see. Roger said my aunt saw a coyote in her backyard this morning. Said it was the biggest goat she ever seen. They do breed. So they are hybrid. Coyote hybrids. They can breed. They can breed with wolves. Coy wolves. They're called. Definitely. You never know what you might run up onto. You better watch your pets. Definitely your cats, a dog, small dogs. Uh, when they get hungry, they will do anything, and you can't blame them. That's their mode, survival mode. You know. Okay. Uh, uh, Thank you, Red Bill. I appreciate that. Let's see. Yeah, the I'm working on production on the Midnight Road. Definitely, trying to get it in production there. I would like to go to some. I'm trying to. I don't know if it's going to be possible to do some of them, but I would definitely like to go to some of the places that some of these things took place and actually do a video from there. But we'll see how that works out. Definitely. Yeah, they can cross with dogs, I think, but they're more likely to cross with the wolf. The wolf is closer, I think, in DNA in some ways to the coyote. But there have been reports of some very strange coyotes being seen. We don't know if they might have been part of a government experimental type thing, or if they might have got into some kind of chemical thing. But they have actually found coyotes, I think, in California that have blue eyes, and they had a slight bluish tint to their fur as well. That's very strange. You never know what you're. Like I say, you have to be on guard nowadays when you go out in the woods or even out in your yard. You don't never know what you're going to walk into. Definitely. Yeah, I heard. Definitely, we will be praying for Tracy. She has, I think, got the C stuff there. That's COVID stuff. Yep. That's a bad word to say on YouTube. Okay. But anyway, I hope you like that story, Night Cry. That kind of what was that thing? That's very interesting. That's a little short story I wrote here a while back, a few weeks ago. I thought I'd share it with you. Kind of inspired by Kolchak, the Night Stalker. Joe here's wearing the hat. He's wearing Kolchak's hat, by the way. But anyway, I hope you've had a good Halloween, definitely. And I've got some horror movies planned for tonight myself. Matter of fact, I've got the old DVD going there, and I'm going to be watching after this show. I'm going to be watching The Black Cat with Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi. That's one of my favorites. I'll tell you something about me. I'm a big lover of Art Deco. I love Art Deco, okay? And this movie is nothing but Art Deco. I mean, I would love to have that house and everything in it that you see in this movie. I mean, it is splendid. I love Art Deco. I have a few Art Deco items, not as many as I would like. They're very expensive. Um, I wanted to marry Kolchak when I was a little girl. He was sort of my mentor too. There, Barb. Actually, yeah. I love Kolchak. I love the movies. You know, you're talking about two different Kolchaks. So the one in the two movies is really different than the one on TV. They kind of watered him down a little bit when he went to the TV series, unfortunately. That's the way TV does. But it kind of turned into a monster of the week. I would love to them to have explored the character of Kolchak himself a little bit more. That man had definitely some stories to tell, and he wasn't just being a monster hunter all the time, you know. I would love to have got into that. I've got a hunting guard dog, Mixus, an outside dog. My mom has a Chihuahua, but only time it's outside. Some of us with definitely good idea. Keep an eye on it because I tell you, I had a. Let me tell you a quick story. I had some Mexican family moved behind me, and they had some chickens. Okay, and one of the chickens took up with me. I don't know why. It just came in my yard, came over the fence, and he didn't want to go back home. He stayed. He hung around my house all the time. It was just a hen. It wasn't a rooster. And she would hang out on the porch, you know. If it was a pet, I could pet her. This chicken liked me for some reason. I don't know. I don't know why, because I ate a lot of chicken. But anyway, um, uh, love watching the Night Stalker going up. Oh, okay. Good. Good. Glad you're another fan there, definitely. Anyway, I was sitting out in the yard one day, and this chicken comes flying down through the yard. You know, I mean, doing 80 miles an hour, and he went down to, and he hit up against the fence, and a hawk was right behind him. This hawk almost got him. The hawk had to veer off finally to miss the fence and lit on the fence, and it took off because I was very close to it. I have never seen a hawk do that close up. I saw a hawk one time pick up a squirrel across the road in front of my car, actually. They can do it. And it would not surprise me if a hawk or even an eagle could pick up a small dog or a cat. Oh, no doubt about it. They could probably do it. So you got to watch out for the hawks, not only the coyotes. Jekyll and Hyde was course material when I was working on my doctorate. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good story. Did you know that, Red Pill, that Jekyll and Hyde was actually written from a dream that Robert Louis Stevenson had? And one of my favorite Robert Louis Stevenson quotes, you probably heard me say it before, is one day we will all sit down to our own banquet of consequences. That's what happened with Jekyll, was it not? Mm-hmm. So anyway, it was all thought up in a dream. He had this dream with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Got up and wrote the whole thing out. Amazing. Robert Louis Stevenson is one of my favorite writers, too. He was really good. Oh, wow. I'll need to come trick or treat your house, Ann. Definitely. If you got Baby Ruth bars there, I might show up. You never know. Yeah. Yes, JoJo, they can pick them up. Yes, they can, definitely. They are even legends of them snatching small babies. Absolutely. Yeah. I got a bound rooster and a hen. I got them taking the hawk sadly right in front of them. Yeah, the hawk will do it quick, but you know that's why they call them chicken hawks. They love chicken meat. They do share that attribute with me. I love a good chicken sandwich. They're taking my hawks right in front of us. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. That'll happen, definitely, without a doubt. So you got coyotes and hawks to worry about, definitely. And if you live pretty far out in the sticks, you may have some wolves show up. You never know. They have a wolf breeding program going on, But like I say, wolves usually shy away from people. So do coyotes, unless there's something wrong with them most of the time. But like I say, all bets are off when they get hungry, because they will do, no matter what the animal is, and that includes man, will do whatever it takes to survive. If you don't survive. That's pure and simple. That's the way that goes. Okay, I got some Poe for you now. Okay, got your little Poe here tonight. This is one I didn't do in my show the other night for you. So we will catch up with that. And, on the night like tonight, the boundary of life and death, the crossing over the thin veil, the merging of the worlds of life and death, of the living and the dead, reminds me a lot of this poem. What they say in the book of prayer: in the midst of life, we are in death. And you can look at it that way. The moment you are born, you are dying. I know it's a sad way to look at it, but that is very true. But that is why the spirit is so important. The spirit is eternal. The body is not. This is a temporary thing here, okay? Even if you live to be 120, you're still pretty temporary considering what time does, okay? Without a doubt. And as that book says, in the midst of life, we are in death. And Poe reminds us of that with this: a conqueror worm. Lo, 'tis a gala night within the lonesome latter years. An angel throng be winged, bedight in veils and drowned in tears, sit in the theatre to see a play of hopes and fears, while the orchestra breathes fitfully the music of the spheres. Mimes in the form of God on high mutter and mumble low, and hither and thither fly mere puppets they who come and go at the biddings of vast formless things that shift the scenery to and fro, flapping from out their condor wings invisible woe. That motley drama, oh, be sure it shall not be forgot, with its phantom chased for evermore by a crowd that sees it not, in the circle that returneth into the selfsame spot, and much of madness and more of sin and horror, the soul of the plot. But lo, amid the mimic rout, see a crawling shape intrude, a blood-red thing that rise from out the scenic solitudes. It writhes in mortal pangs, and the mimes become its food, and seraphs sob at vermin fangs, and human gore imbued. Out of the lights, out all, and over each quivering form, the curtain of funeral pall comes down with the rush of a storm, and the angels all pallid and wan, uprising, unveiling, affirm that the play is the tragedy man, and his hero is the conqueror worm. That's what gets us all in the end, is it not? Unless you want to be cremated. I might want to be, I want to look into cremation there, the way the worms don't get you. The conqueror worm. It is the very mortality of our bodies, but our spirits, definitely, and like I said earlier, seen the evidence, without a doubt, they go on. They go on. All right. Here they do their business in caves. Guano is a major source of fertilizer. Oh yeah, guano definitely. I'm gonna tell you a quick story, and I've known about bats. I had a pet bat one time. Actually, I caught this bat when I was a kid. Some boys knocked it down with a rock, and I put it in a cage and I kept it till it got well. I turned it loose. Somewhere out there's a bat family that probably has a picture of me on their wall. But anyway, I never knew this about bats, but one day, and I used to have to go to work very, very early in the morning. It was right before dawn. I mean, it was just the rosy part of dawn. It wasn't quite, the sun wasn't up yet. I looked back over towards town, and honest to gosh, there was just this huge black cloud. I mean, the sky was filled with bats, and they were moving. I mean, there was a million, it looked like millions of them, and And nobody, the common person doesn't usually think about this, but we would be in big, big trouble without bats. We would be knee deep in insects without bats. And speaking of insects, I heard that the Tyson Foods has bought a company that exclusively makes insects for food consumption. Right now, they're talking about food consumption for cattle and chickens and hogs. But how much longer will it be before they want you to start eating insects? Think about it. That's Tyson, folks. That's a big food company. Well, Aussie Sue, that's one way to take care of that, definitely. Um, Matter of fact, that quote I had at the beginning of the show, the boundaries which separate life and death are at best shadowy and vague. Who is to say exactly where it is that the one ends and the other begins? That comes from Poe's premature burial, by the way. That used to be a very big thing. A lot of people were very worried about that. And I told the story, I don't know if you might remember, if you got a chance to hear it, about Julia Lagar, which is a South Carolina legend. When they opened the tomb, they found her out of the casket next to the door. She had been buried alive. And they say to this day that you cannot keep the door of that tomb shut. And some people say her spirit is determined to never let that door be shut again. Very interesting story, and that was a very prevalent thing, and that's where you get that term "dead ringer" at, because there was a system they had. They would place a bell rope in your hand when they buried you, and if you were to actually the rope went up to a bell in the cemetery, and if you actually woke up in the casket, you could ring the bell and it would come save you. That's when you get that word "dead ringer" from, by the way. That was a very good system. Definitely, if I were afraid of being buried alive, I would want a bell rope in my hands, without a doubt. Scott's like, the greenest people. It's coming to that. It's coming to that, Scott. Don't think it won't. Definitely, without a doubt. What's the biggest food commodity on this planet? People, without a doubt. Oh, yeah, the insects. That's great protein, they say. So they say. I don't want to go that route myself. We've got them here every night lately, eating the mangoes and dropping them on our roof. Oh yeah, bats can be that, but they're very beneficial. That's the thing about bats. Like I said, I would hate to see a world without bats, because we would be inundated. We would probably be destroyed by insects. Bats are a very, very important thing, and some bats even help to pollinate plants in South America and places like that. So that's a very the bat I saw when I encountered that vampire in Charleston was a huge bat, and I don't know if that was connected or just a coincidence. I don't really believe in too many coincidences anymore. Anyway, that was the largest bat I have ever seen in my life. It was a large. I've seen some pretty good sized bats, okay, but usually your average bat is no more than this big, probably 6 inches wingspan. Um, They look like flying rats. I call them that anyway. That's what they are. They're sort of the Air Force of the rat family. Anyway, a lot of these fruit bats, they do pollinate trees and stuff and all that, and they drop the seeds and all in the bat guano, and it helps them to grow. That's built-in fertilizer. So there you go. Yes, Jojo, I was in the graveyard where I encountered the vampire lady who claimed to be a vampire. The interesting thing about that story, I don't know if I ever added that to it, was that, I did ask her, if you're really a vampire, what are you doing out in the daytime? And it was like very late in the evening, dark, cloudy day. And she said, well, there are certain times of day we can come out. I mean, if it's a day like this, we can come out, but not on a bright, sunny day. And I thought, well, that made sense when you think about it. I never had thought of it that way. I was more in mind with the Hollywood thing. They burn up in the sun and all that. But anyway, that might be part of it. I don't know. Yes, that was the vampire encountered. Yeah, I'm sure. Also, you have down that way. You have those bigger, larger fruit bats down there. Yeah, they are bigger. I've seen pictures of them. I've always been interested in bats. Definitely, I've seen a lot of pictures in the different areas. There are some huge bats in the Far East, in India, and in some of the Orient. Definitely, there are some very large bats, scary looking bats. I mean, that's how big they are. Definitely. There's a flying fox bat. It's a big bat. But the bat I saw looked more like a common bat, you know. I mean, I didn't get a real good close up look at it. It was just huge. I knew it was a bat. I don't know what time it was. Couldn't tell you for sure. I'm not a bat expert. But yeah, I just know it was a bat, and it was one of the biggest bats I'd ever seen around here. I did on occasion one time, many years ago, see a little bit bigger bat than what you see around here occasionally. I saw one time. It was very unusual, but it was not as big as that. That was almost approaching eagle size. And I'm not going to say it was like size because a bald eagle is pretty good size, but it was it was bigger than a hawk, put it that way. Well, the flying fox bats here in Australia are huge, and they're the ones I have in my yard. They're all black. Oh, yeah, they're bad. I can imagine they can be very messy animals to have around, without a doubt. Yes, Barb. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Subscribe. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to the show, okay? That way you'll get notified whenever we have, another show. And we will be having one tomorrow night now. Hunting the Shadows at 9 o'clock. Not 8, 9 o'clock. This is a special tonight, okay? But tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, Defense Against Black Magic and the Dark Arts, okay? We're going to be talking about that. We're going to get into some really interesting stuff here, okay? And I'm going to do a lot of these shows that you can learn some of this stuff from that will protect you. Protection is very important, especially more so now than ever before in our lives. Not only physical protection, but spiritual protection as well. Definitely, without a doubt. Happy Halloween, Derek. So anyway, we're getting ready to wrap it up here in just a few minutes. I'll let all of you get back to your Halloween festivities. It's a very mystical night, like I said, and we could not definitely let it go by without commemorating in a way. But I've had a lot of people over the years ask, boy, Halloween must be your favorite holiday. Well, not really. My favorite holiday is Christmas. And the only reason why I like Christmas, it seems to bring out the good part of people. Halloween, on the other hand, seems to bring out a little bit of the darkness. That's your two different things going on here. Christmas is the season of light. Halloween is the season of darkness. Although I like Halloween, I like all holidays. I'm a big holiday guy. I like the 4th of July. I like Easter. But Halloween's always been good too. I always like it. It's my second favorite, definitely, after Christmas. Yes, I had a friend one time, also, Sue, by the way, who lived in Queensland, and her name was Willow. She and I had a correspondence quite a while. She actually told me the one night she thought without a doubt she saw a thylacine cross the road. A thylacine, also known as the Tasmanian tiger, is supposed to be extinct. She said without a doubt, Dennis, I saw this thing cross the road in front of my car. So she had that was in Queensland, if I remember correctly. Definitely. I've always wanted to visit Queensland. I come down there, I will definitely look you up. I'll see. Hey, Raymond. Well, we're getting ready to wind it up here, and I hope you enjoy this little Halloween get together. I know the boys back here did. You can tell by their grins. Look how they're grinning. Okay, and thank you, Helen. I appreciate that. And I will definitely leave you tonight with one more little thing for you for Halloween. Okay, here we go. Halloween night is so damp and so chill. A night of black evil, a night of cold ill. It's dark in the evening, and then darker still. On Halloween, Halloween night. Halloween night is the one night to dread. The night for all spirits to feed and be fed, to dance and to prance on the night of the dead. On Halloween, Halloween night. Halloween night is a bonfire that's bright. Its flame is a friendly and flickering light until evil spirits float into your sight. On Halloween, Halloween night. Halloween night is a pumpkin that grins to protect you from goblins who'll stick you with pins. But when you are dead, it's the goblin who wins. On Halloween, Halloween night. Halloween night is the night to beware, for ghosts are dishonest and vampires unfair. So face them and fight them, my friend, if you dare. On Halloween, Halloween night. I hope that keeps you in the mood for the rest of this evening, folks. And I appreciate you being here with me to celebrate Halloween. Cryptid and Paranormal Kingdom. Hello, my friend Carlito. Definitely good to have you here, my brother. And thank you for sharing your Halloween with me, all of you. And it's been a mystical night, and it's not over yet. So be careful out there, okay? And definitely want to watch out. And so until tomorrow night, which will be at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, stay aware. Be careful out there. Keep your eye on the shadows. And embrace the mystery. Happy Halloween.